Good morning, my friends. How are you? Today is Thursday, March 28th, 2019, and I haven't done a car video in a long time, but I am on my way to LA, and it has been a very busy week or so, and there were some things I wanted to talk about, so I thought, if I don't do this now, I don't know when it's going to happen. So I will try to speak up, and hopefully the background noise in my car is not too annoying. For those of you who may be watching for the first time, I am 53 years old. I had a vertical sleeve gastrectomy, weight loss surgery in April of 2014. So I am coming up on my 5-year surgiversary. I have maintained a weight loss of about 180 pounds for, like 3.5, 4 years now, with some ebb and flow. The lowest I got was about 202 pounds down, and I'm working towards getting back to that place. So one of the things that I've talked about recently was the idea that I don't want to focus my mind necessarily or discussion so much on weight loss and being a weight loss surgery patient, etc. That I don't feel like being overweight, it was the driving force in my life for so long, and it really isn't anymore. It's just one of my body is just one of the other things that are part of my life, and it's not this driving thing. And someone commented on my last video and said, then why are you talking about it here? Basically, I'm saying that a little more bluntly than they did. And the reason is because I started this channel to document my weight loss surgery, and so I feel a little obligated to touch on it a little bit here. And sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. And I think moving forward, I'm only going to talk about it when it makes sense. It does make sense today because one of the things that I want to talk about has to do with weight and body image and our perception of how we look, etc., etc. So I'm a size, I can get my butt in size 10 jeans. And sometimes I tell myself, that's a fluke. It's a fluke that you're getting yourself into size 10 jeans, and you shouldn't say that because it's not really accurate. Well, it is accurate. I have 2 pairs, not just one, but 2 pairs of size 10 jeans that I absolutely can wear. They have a little stretch in them. They are super tight, but I like my jeans tight. So I wear, and all the rest of my jeans are size 12. I do have this phenomenon that I call like the few years post weight loss surgery, haven't had plastic surgery melting effect, which is that my weight has really redistributed a little bit over the last few years because I have not had plastic surgery. And so I am not as happy necessarily always with how my body looks as I was at the same weight at different times, but that just is what it is. But generally speaking, I am probably much more confident than I should be for a 53-year-old woman who still weighs over 200 pounds. But I generally feel like I look pretty effing good. My face, my body, I feel sexy and confident and attractive probably 90% of the time. And like I said, probably more often than I should. So that's generally the space I occupy in the world, is one of feeling super good about how I look. Regardless of whether I'm up a few pounds on the scale or not, I'm very confident in my appearance. So then something happened this week that really brought those old tapes back. So my boss had a family emergency come up, so I had to fill in for her at some things that I hadn't had on my schedule. And I want to talk about both of them, but I'm going to talk about the second one first. So on Tuesday, I was part of a Facebook Watch conversation at Facebook. So this was like a Facebook Live at Facebook, in recognition of Women's History Month. So the women who, and I don't know why I was thinking, because I'm so used to talking on YouTube and I don't generally, I guess I was thinking I was going to be seen from the boobs up. I don't know why I thought that, because why would I think that? I don't know. But that's what I was thinking. So the first thing that threw me when I got there was just how beautiful and young and thin the other participants in this conversation were. So that threw me, for a minute. And then we started talking. It was fine. Well, then we walked into the studio where they were going to be filming this. And literally it was, it was tiny, but it was a studio, which I have never done anything like that before. And it was a couch. I mean, it was like The View. I was jokingly saying this was like The View, Facebook style. We were on a couch, and I sat, so it was like an L-shaped couch, and there were, I don't want to get into the whole thing of this, but anyway, so I sat on the couch, and I caught a view of myself in the monitor, and it immediately made me self-conscious. I wasn't totally happy with what I was wearing, because I hadn't realized or thought about being full body. And then we're sitting there, and one of the guys said, "Can you move to the other side of the couch?" And so I immediately thought, oh, it's because I'm too fat. I'm too fat to sit in this corner. So they want to move me over there to get me less in the shot. That's where my mind went. So anyway, we did it. It was great. It was fun. As we moved through it, I got my confidence back, and I felt okay about it. When we were walking out to the car afterwards, I was with one of my colleagues, and she said to me, she goes, "I told them there was a reason in the way the people in the panel were laid out." And she said, "I suggested that they move you to the other side of the couch for a reason that had nothing to do with what I thought it had to do with." And she said, I said, "Oh, that's so funny, because I thought when they did that, it was because I was fat." And she said, "I knew that was what you were going to think. And I was trying to figure out some way to signal you to let you know that wasn't the case." But of course, that's what, that's what I thought. And I still haven't watched it. I didn't even want to put it on my Facebook page. I was very anxious about watching myself and being disappointed in how I looked. I got really positive feedback about it, and one of my colleagues watched it yesterday and was texting me and was telling me, that I sort of owned it, and that I had the most interesting things to say, and I was actually in the Macy's dressing room when I was getting her text trying on dresses for a friend's wedding, and it really moved me. And I've just been reflecting for a few days about this experience and how those old tapes are still there, and how, even though I feel that 90% of the time I am super confident about how I look, that things can sneak up, and things can sneak up on me, and I can have those tapes repeating themselves in my head. The good thing is, I'm still afraid. Honestly, I'm still afraid to watch it. I'm going to put a link down below if you guys want to watch it. But it's just an interesting reminder that all these years later, even though I say I don't want it to impact my life, that it sneaks up, and it does. And that's okay. I mean, that's okay. But anyway, so I want to talk about that. Just kind of put it out there that I'm still, I don't know, it just sort of threw me, because generally I am super fucking confident. then the other thing, which was going to be the topic of my video before I started, before that happened with the Facebook thing, was I went to this event on Monday that was called An Unreasonable Conversation, and it was a group. It was just this incredible day of panels and speakers, and it was aimed at showrunners and content creators for around television to sort of just bring up some different thoughts around important issues and how characters are represented, because on screen is one of the places that we can, change what we watch. Really impacts our beliefs, for some people more than others. So there were panels on immigration, there were panels on segregation in schools, there were panels on gender in media, which is why I was there. There was Stacey Abrams was there. The Surgeon General of the state of California was there talking about adverse childhood experiences and the impacts and the impact that those have on health down the road. There was a panel on prison, of people who have been in prison, and the whole prison system and reform and the stories we tell around that. And there was a panel on how the other side is portrayed, meaning predominantly Hollywood is sort of the liberal elite, and so how are conservatives portrayed, etc. It was fascinating. But the one theme that ran through all of these discussions, and it wasn't their intent because I talked to the founder later, but it's just it's so true. The one theme that ran through was people are not good or bad. People are complex. It's fucking complicated. It is not as simple as, people are neither good nor bad. And in media, of course, sometimes characters are portrayed that way because it's easier to tell a story that way. But this was sort of about talking about the complex stories that actually reflect who people are. And I started thinking about that as it relates to weight loss. And just this morning, because Marco Polo is my best friend. I love Marco Polo. In listening to Marco Polos from my friends today, I heard so often, I was bad. I'm going to be good, as it relates to food and choices. And it's like, it's fucking complicated. It is not good or it is not bad. And I am trying for myself, and I hope you guys might think about trying to look at it in not so black and white terms. It's complicated. Our relationship with food is complicated. I don't believe in denial for sure, but I do believe in grace. And I think part of what's created this diet culture that we all live in and that permeates our world is this idea of you're good if you're thin, you're bad if you're fat, this food is good, that food is bad. It's not. It's complicated. It's complicated. So have no grand answers for anyone, but that's just what I'm thinking about this week in Lizland. So anyway, you guys have a great week. I will talk to you next week. Just FYI, my Surgiversary is coming up in a couple of weeks, and I probably will do a Google Live or a YouTube Live hangout like I do every year around my Surgiversary, and we'll take your questions. So if you want to start thinking about questions, I probably won't put it out until the week before. But anyway, something to think about. You guys have a great week. I love you. Bye.